Welcome back to Moon Harbor Heroes. Today's issue is Blockade, Issue 2, Saddle Up. On the cover, Blue Samurai and Asimov's sleek robot face off against the Asteron Mount. On one drill arm, Rascal King and Squire hang precariously. Unnoticed by the Mount, hundreds of Carl's insects swarm at the bottom of its legs. In the bottom corner, there is a silver embossed logo in bold letters, Blockade. We turn the page and our story begins. The last thing we saw was what is being referred to right now as the Asteron Mount. From the research anyone has done, you know that like in hand-to-hand combat, these are the things that the Asterons ride into battle on. The Asteron Mount has just turned all four of its eyes to stare directly at the six of you.
So I know we left off where we were both sharing this look of oh shit, because we recognize the eyes. But also, now that I hear that it's a mount, I kind of feel like I want to ride it.
I think Max is gonna turn to Al. I have no idea who this guy is, but I did just see him portal in here. And I'm gonna say, hey, can you get me up there? And I'm gonna point to the top of the shopping center.
Yes, I can get you up there easily. Do I need to take your little friend?
Squire runs up my leg and onto my shoulder. Yeah, she's coming with.
Sounds good. And I'm just gonna slash, and then just portal opens, and then you can look through it and you can see your destination.
I'm gonna turn to Mach and I'm like, hey, try to keep things controlled here. I'll be back soon, and jump through the portal.
I think at this time, Ryder is going to leap back into the fight, and he's going to say, "Whatever you're doing, do it quickly. Got this right now."
I would kind of like to glance at Amber, with a little bit of recognition, and then I kind of want to follow Max.
At this point, Carl Cat slowly walks up to Asimov and offers them a bottle of sunscreen and a spoon.
And
is it actually sunscreen?
Yeah, the mayonnaise had a straw in it, and now there's a spoon and sunscreen.
I gesture at the giant dragon mount thingy and dude, I'm not thirsty.
Carl Cat disappears into just insects, and they scurry off everywhere, and Carl Cat is gone.
Also, Machina is ready to join the fight with Ryder.
As the mount rears back and roars and prepares to launch forward, there's two smaller bursts of red light that land side by side, and two of just the general Asteron guards appear. For those of you who have not yet seen an Asteron guard, let me describe what they look like. The Asteron guards stand at 7'6" or so. They've got white skin and bulging muscles. They don't really wear any armor other than these thin blue bodysuits, and they each have a taser cannon, a energy cannon, and an energy blade.
Do they look weaker at all from the pheromones, or just affected in any way?
Not visibly, but that doesn't mean they're not weaker.
Okay, I think Machina is going to go after one of the guards and not the mount.
Cool.
What she's going to do is try to grab hold of one of the energy blasters and absorb its electricity.
Solid. Go ahead and... What is your purpose with that electricity? Are you trying to, stop it from shooting at someone else? Are you trying to, take it and redirect it back at them?
To disable it so that way it's not functioning, and I want to have that electricity on hand to fight with since somebody is not here.
Cool. Go ahead and roll to unleash your powers. Cool, that's a 9. On a 7 to 9, you can pick, you can either mark a condition, or I'll tell you how it's unstable or temporary.
I think I'll go with unstable or temporary.
Great. So you grab onto the blaster as it's about to fire at you, and it kind of fires, and you absorb it, but it keeps blasting, and the weapon overheats and explodes in the Asteron's hand. The Asteron kind of falls backwards with cuts across his arm, and you notice black blood seeping out of the cuts on his arm. Having encountered them before, they weren't quite this unstable previously. This is the character who got two could take a punch, but he got fully knocked off balance by this. But you also did get blown backwards a little bit. I'm gonna have you go ahead and roll to take a powerful blow for me.
Welp.
Is that the 8 there?
Yep, that's the 8.
Excellent. On a 7 to 9, you can choose one. Lash out verbally, give ground, or struggle past the pain and mark 2 conditions.
I'm going to give ground.
Cool. The energy blade is going to immediately flare up next to you as the are you still wearing the helmet, or are you just have you
I
taken it
don't
off?
think she was ever wearing a helmet.
Cool. The Astron that's in front of you is gonna like grab you by your hair and kind of lift you up and put the energy blade like against your throat and just hold you in place there. And as you're there, we're gonna go ahead and switch over to our next person. Who wants to be our next person to make a move?
I will,
I-
since I ran in already.
Cool.
Damn.
Ryder, what are you doing?
Ryder actually is leaping into the air, and he would, where he would normally summon his blade, a large axe, a large two-handed axe appears in his hands, and he basically is, as he leaps in the air, he actually swings the blade and begins spinning, and he is going to slam the blade into the mount and throw it at, basically attempt to sling the creature into the aileron that is holding Amber.
Excellent. So go ahead and roll to directly engage a threat, I'm going to say. Cool. On a 7 to 9, you can choose one.
I'm going to resist or avoid their blows.
Perfect. So you hit into the mount and kind of like spin and knock it. It does hit into the Asteron, who is holding Machina. Both Machina and the Asteron kind of go like stumbling. Though I don't think we quite got Machina free. She's not hurt by it. She just like, they both get like knocked aside, but the Asteron's pretty quick to like get back and grab her. Tell me what that looks like as you resist or avoid the blows of this giant creature.
I'm going to land on my feet, and the creature is going to basically take one of its large claws and try to do a flurry of blows at me with both of its claws. And you're going to see a panel of Ryder pulling like a Matrixy move where he is just dodging every single attack before vanishing out of the way.
Yeah, the creature's kind of on its side and just like swiping at you as quick as it can, but you did knock it back. It's going to like let out this like very, very loud cry and then dig its claws underneath you into the ground. Its its legs, as I mentioned, are about 20 yards long. So its claws will start burrowing through the concrete into the ground. Its claws are basically like drills digging through this concrete there. And let's go ahead and jump over to Al and Max. Max, you just popped through the portal, and a second later, Al is pulling you.
Okay, so we're up on top of the shopping center. I think we get a panel. Rascal King already like looking out over the parking lot when Al steps through the portal. Can I see like a fire truck?
No further than like 6 or 7 blocks away from where you are right now, probably 7 blocks away from the nearest fire truck to Town Hall. And there's some more driving towards you, like towards it in your direction.
Okay, I want to point out it towards the fire trucks. And be like, I still don't know your name. Who are you?
Blue Samurai.
Okay, Blue Samurai, go get those hoses. And I'm gonna like turn and run farther onto the roof, looking for like a roof, like access into the shopping center.
Just the hoses?
Just the hoses.
As you say, just the hoses, you found like a opening like skylight kind of thing. If you want to go ahead and drop through, you can yell that line as you drop through.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah, you drop out of sight. We'll let you be inside the shopping center and we can talk through that in a sec. So Max has just dropped out of sight. Blue Samurai, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna make my way over to get some hoses for whatever reason. And I'm gonna cut open a couple portals in front of me, or a portal in front of me, jump through as far as I can throw them, which I'd say is about 30 meters, and just make my way hopping towards the closest fire truck.
Perfect. You've hopped away. Let's jump back over to either Brian or Myriad. Which one of you would like to do something next?
So I have no sense of self-preservation since I'm still just piloting a robot. So I want to do something to that mount. I want to see if I can maybe launch some device at it that will cause one of its claws to be weighed down stuck in place so that it can't move.
Cool. How would you like to do that? What device are you using?
Some small thing that I shoot out of is, some kind of gun, and then it suddenly becomes super heavy.
Perfect. I love that. Go ahead and roll to unleash your powers.
Okay, so for this, I would think this can trigger always prepared. Unleash your powers, but use superior instead and spend 1 gadget.
On a hit, you do it. So tell me what that looks like.
This long sort of sniper rifle lifts out of my arm and fires a tiny little sort of microchip sort of looking thing at one of its rear feet that are not drilling into the ground, and then some kind of visual effect around it, like some sort of distortion to signify that it has become super heavy.
Fantastic. So it's currently laying on its side. So you catch it like kind of between the foot and the knee and just like pin that to the ground. And it kind of roars in agony and is furious and is trying to like lift up, but it can't get off the ground. And then I'm going to say, before we get back to Carl, the Asteron guard who has Machina currently has like the blade to her throat and has her pinned, and he lets go of her hair and is like frantically keying into some sort of, it almost looks like a keypad on his belt that he's like frantically typing into. And I just want everyone to notice that, and we're going to jump back to Carl.
The flames are starting to diminish, so Carl is gonna charge up burn again.
Cool. You still have 1 more burn, right?
No, I spent 2 to avoid collateral damage.
Okay, cool. You charge your power up. We see the like familiar burst of fire. And then what do?
I'm going to blast another ball of fire at the egg monster.
Awesome. Reality storm or something else?
A reality storm, yeah.
Great.
Okay. That's a 3.
You send a burst of fire over towards the Asteron mount. Unfortunately, right in front of it is Ryder. So Ryder's going to take a brunt of that fire as it just like cascades over and across the Asteron mount. Ryder, go ahead and roll to take a powerful blow for me.
I'm going to use Never Give Up, Never Surrender instead
Cool.
of taking a powerful blow,
Great.
which is I roll plus Savior, and then on a hit, I stand strong and choose 1.
I would like to point out this is you mechanically admitting that Carl was a far greater threat than you.
Yep. With that power, yes, he is.
That's a 12.
On a hit, you stand strong and choose 1. You get an opportunity or an opening against your attacker. You rally from the hit and it inspires the team, or you keep the attacker's attention. Because the attack came from Carl, it'll be I rally from the hit and inspire the team with that.
Cool.
And it adds 1 team to the pool.
If you wanted to use the get the opportunity that it mentions, you could probably like redirect that fire and have it hit the Asteron using that first one.
Oh, I would love that. That would be awesome.
Cool. The fire like burns over this giant creature, which kind of like flails angrily. It can't pull itself up. And then it pulls its claws back from the ground very suddenly. And Ryder, you feel yourself dropping about what feels like 20, 25 feet into a tunnel underneath the city. Ryder, you're going to land. You're not going to take a powerful blow from that, but you are going to land pretty hard on the ground. And it's going to stun you for a second.
Okay.
And while you're stunned, we're going to jump over to Amber. Amber, what are you doing right now?
So the Astron no longer has my hair, but he still has the like blade to my throat.
Yep.
Did Amber end up getting the electricity from that energy?
Yep, you have it.
Cool. So she's going to take both hands, and one hand is going to try to grab the sword, and then the other hand is going to grab the Asteron to shock him.
Great. So let's go ahead and...
I think directly engaging a threat.
Cool. All right. On a 7 to 9, you can choose one.
Take something from them. I want that sword.
Solid. So you send a shock through the Asteron. What does that look like?
We see like electricity sparks on the page, and the Asteron just kind of like jerks, and Amber's able to use that to slide her hand in and yank the sword from him. And then I think she like spins around to face the Asteron, and we see her go like, "Oh fuck yeah!"
As you spin around, the electricity is like coursing over the Asteron, and where his hands are on that keypad on his belt, we see like electricity shock between fingers and the keypad, and suddenly he's just gone.
Just like vanished.
There was like sort of red light similar to how he arrived. Kind of red light blink and was gone.
All right. I still got a sword though.
You still got his sword. The other Asteron is going to turn his attention to the robot across the parking lot and is going to start running towards Asimov. He's going to send an energy blast at you, Asimov. What are you going to do?
Is there anybody currently near me?
I mean, Carl's not too far away from you, but everyone else is pretty in the fight.
I'm going to stand my ground so that he attacks me and not other people.
Cool. Are you trying to like distract him from hitting Carl, or are you just like gonna just like let him hit you, or are you gonna fight back?
I'll fight back to keep him distracted.
Why don't you go ahead and
The main goal will be distraction.
yeah, I think that'll be creating the opportunity for your allies. So let's go ahead and have you directly engage a threat. 12. So go ahead and choose 2.
Does he still have a weapon?
He's got both an energy blaster, like a taser blaster, and an energy sword.
I'm going to try to create an opportunity for Carl, and I am going to take their energy blaster.
Solid. What does that look like?
I stand there, and as they're coming at me, draw back a robot fist. As he approaches, rather than punching him, I steal the gun right out of his hand and then swing it over my head, pulling him with it towards the ground near Carl.
Excellent. Carl, so this Astron guard has just kind of like crash landed sort of diagonally near you, like not really in front of you, but close enough that you can see, especially since you have like 10,000 eyes. What do you want to do?
I'm going to try something crazy. I grab the guard and make contact, and I'm going to take the guard into my hive mind, and I'm going to attack its mind.
I'm going to say that counts as extending your senses. Why don't you go ahead and roll to unleash your powers?
Okay, that's a 10.
All right, on a hit, you do it. So tell me what that looks like.
The guard appears in a large black dome with millions of insects looking at it, and they all start screaming loudly, and the screams go more and more deafening, and then a hole opens up in the ends, and the amulet appears, and the face on the amulet says, "This world is protected."
Awesome. That's fantastic. Do you like break contact and like drop it out of the hive mind there? Like what happens after you finish this attack?
I mean, I'd like to keep it incapacitated in my mind.
Awesome. So as this happens, as you're there, the figure of this Asteron guard is like shuddering and shaking and like looking frantically around the room for an exit. The face of the amulet is going to look up and look at all of you, and you see like that like familiar smiling phoenix-esque look from far, far a long time ago. And it kind of looks up and makes eye contact with a bunch of your different eyes. And then it says, "Carl, give up. Let me take over. I can finish this."
There's immediately a feeling of dissent amongst all of the minds in the hive mind. They can't make up their mind what they want to do with this. And then suddenly all the voices go quiet and say in unison, "Sure, go ahead."
Cool. So does the amulet have control for a moment?
It does.
So as you say, sure, we're going to cut back to Al. Al, you've just gotten the hoses and you're on your way back. Max, where are you going to meet Al there?
I think as like Al's on the way back, Max is like now at the front door, just kind of peeking out the door, waving towards Max or towards Al.
Okay, so seeing the wave, I want to like open a portal in front of me and have it be directly behind Max, and then just tap him on the shoulder.
Max kind of jumps a little bit, grabs the hose, and goes, "Okay, I just need a few minutes to get this hooked up. Get out there, keep it busy," and then darts back into the shopping center.
I'll just give him a thumbs up and then just open the door and walk out. So real quick, taking stock, is the other Astron, is it still there?
So there's one guard like clenching its head and wailing on the ground, surrounded by Carl, and the other guard is gone.
Okay, cool. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure. So, okay, and what is how big is the spider thing? The spider dragon egg thing?
Standing upright, it's about 12 feet tall, Right now it's laying on the ground, so it's about 8 feet tall, and it's kind of like flailing.
I'm just gonna run up and see if I can cut off some arms then.
Cool. Are you going for the front arms or the back leg that's attached to the ground? One of the other back legs? What's your plan?
Probably the one that's attached to the ground because I feel like it'll knock it off balance and at the very least mess with, like, it keeps digging underground. I don't like that, so I'm gonna try and attack that leg.
Okay, so that would be one of the front legs then. The back leg that is currently attached to the ground is like weighted down by something Asimov is doing. So it's just in the ground that way.
Okay. When you said attached, I thought you meant like inside. Okay, then no, I'll attack one of the front hands with the digits, the 3 digits.
Perfect. Go ahead and directly engage a threat. You're gonna roll plus danger.
Plus danger. Let me see what my current danger's my middle name.
While you're rolling that, Asimov, as Carl is activating the amulet, you have a sensor that notices that same metal that your shame is made out of, right?
I'm not sure if there is one on this robot or if it's functioning right now, because if it was, I would have noticed it a long time ago.
I'm going to say even if it's not functioning, it's this moment when it like flares up as the amulet kind of takes over, you at least like, you feel that this is happening. You get like a solid like ping even through the like sensor being turned off of like that tech, that world feels familiar.
Well, then I'm going to immediately take some conditions, because now I'm scared.
If you want to mark a condition, you can. You don't have to.
Oh, I want to.
Well, then go ahead and mark afraid. And that was a 7. So on a 7 to 9, you can choose one.
I'm going to take their arm.
Great. Yeah. Tell me what that looks like.
So I walk out. I see it flailing about. I assume it's still attacking Ryder, correct? Or attempting to attack Ryder? Or is it just madly flailing?
It just dug a hole underneath Ryder.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Pulled its claw back, and Ryder fell into the ground. So it's not currently attacking. It's like looks like it's about to like prep to do something else.
Okay, so
it might be about to attack Machina.
That works perfectly, honestly. I'm just gonna walk out, see the situation, cut a portal to put me as close as possible to one of those arms, and then just as it's flailing around, I assume I'm gonna like do some like mad moves and like duck around, weave, and dodge, and then just get as close as I can to the base and grab my samurai sword with 2 hands and just bring it down and just cut cleanly through one of those arms, and hopefully it just dies. Sorry, the arm dies.
Yeah. As its arm is literally amputated from its body, it lets out this hideous howl. And you took something from it, but you did not resist or avoid its blows. So it's going to open its mouth and just send this like blast of like ridiculously cold breath across you. Sub-zero, like this is an Arctic blast blasting across your body. Go ahead and roll to take a powerful blow for me.
I'm gonna die.
On a 10 plus, you can choose one. Remove yourself from the situation, flee, pass out, etc. Lose control of yourself or your powers in a terrible way, or 2 options from the 7 to 9 list.
I'm gonna lose control of my powers in a terrible way.
All right.
I feel like that's dangerous with portals.
Yeah. So, tell me the portal you were opening to get away. Tell me where you were planning on going.
Okay. So as I chop off this arm, my plan was to get far out of its range, so I was just gonna try and go to the roof of the complex that we're nearby, because I assume this roof is taller than 12 feet, and so I was just gonna. It was a shopping mall, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna try and get to that because shopping mall roofs are higher than 12 feet, and like I have a vantage point up there that I can see everything and portal around. So that was my idea.
Yeah. So as you slash open the portal, the air like physically like knocks you through it. And the portal is slightly off balance as you swipe through. And you actually crash into one of the stores. You crash into a pet store, specifically a fish store. And all of the fish tanks around you just completely freeze in seconds. And then they all shatter. And like shards of glass just rain down. And these like chunks of fish ice just kind of like start falling from the counters and falling from the shells and stuff and like landing on the floor. And you're somewhere inside the mall right now, and I'm gonna leave you there for a sec.
Rude.
And then I
cut
believe
in there.
Yep, that's what I was about to say.
So I think the next panel is an outside shot of that shop. And then Max is just running full speed, holding the end of this fire hose, dragging the whole thing along behind him, heading back towards the entrance. And I'm going to kick open the doors as I get there, and I'm going to use my moment of truth.
Use it. Go wild.
Do you want to read it?
Please go ahead.
This is the moment when you show them exactly why you belong here. You do any one thing, take out any one enemy, no matter how insane, no matter how ridiculous, because that's you. Their jaws are going to drop when you're done. Of course, pulling off a stunt like this tends to bring unwanted attention and a dangerous reputation. So I think we get panels of Max just darting full speed, Squire running like on all fours, bounding along beside him. I want to, like, in getting to the battle, jump through Carl, dragging the hose behind, and then I want to dive directly into the mount's mouth.
Cool, keep going. You have full narrative control right now.
Okay, and then I think like it swallows, the hose is like sucked deeper in, and then the hose is like stretching all the way back to the shopping mall, and I think we get a panel there of the end of the hose like being stretched taut, and it's like very poorly patched into the sprinkler system, and we can see like bits of red steam coming out of the cracks of it, and I want to blast it full blown. And I think from the outside, like, it starts to inflate a little bit, and then I think it starts to take a swipe at whoever's closest, and then just kind of freezes for a moment, and then just pops. And then just standing there is Max and Squire just covered in whatever Asteron viscera looks like, holding onto the end of this hose.
Perfect. That's phenomenal. And the hose is still like blasting that like mist and that like orangey water out of it.
And Max is going to desperately look around like, did Ryder see that? Where the hell's Ryder?
Ryder, you're in the hole. Did you see that from where you were? You do have a pretty clear vantage point right out of the hole, up at where the monster just was.
I'm going to say I did not see that because I was too busy dusting myself off from the fall.
That sounds like my luck.
At that moment, there's about 15 different pings of that same red light popping up all around, surrounding the group. And probably about 10 pings of red light. The same Asteron guard from earlier who disappeared just arrives back kind of close to where he had left from. You can tell it's him because he's kind of beaten and bloodied. And then there are what looks like 3 Asterons, the same kind of height, but like with white skin that hangs loose on their bodies. Like they may have once been that muscular and lost all that muscle and now just kind of like hang loose, and it's very frail and drooping, with that same jet black eyes as the mounts, but their jet black eyes are covered in these like rippling gray clouds, and they have these huge heavy blue robes on. So there are 3 of them, and then also involved, kind of standing right where the mount just went down. None of you would recognize the Asteron General, but this is the Asteron General. She is about 10 feet tall. She's thin and wiry. She has 2 energy blades in her hands, and her white skin is marked with like gray burn scars, and she's got cyber enhancements all over her. Can each of you tell me one enhancement that she has?
A direct video link to cameras installed anywhere in Asteron ships.
I like that.
Long fall boots. Special made legs that allow her to take long falls or long distance jumps without taking any damage.
I think she's got enhancement to her eyes. Like her sight is enhanced, and I feel like she can have like an overlay with computers connecting her to the ship.
I think she has a kill switch bomb. I think she blows up if she dies. You cool with that?
I love that. I think we actually, we don't know this, but she implanted that herself because the process of coming back to life was very traumatic and very, like, painful. And I think she's like, if I die this time, I'm dying this time.
Okay, so her left hand is just a hook. They ran out of parts when they were recreating her, and they just had to give her a hook.
I love that. I want to adapt it ever so slightly. I think it's like, it is an energy, like, some sort of like energy manifester. Like it's traditionally would be used for an energy blade, but she likes a hook better. So it's an energy hook.
Perfect.
Metallic cat ears. That would just be better. Very acute hearing.
Great. So yeah, this 10-foot tall cyberkinetic cyborg with one hand holding an energy blade and the other hand that is an energy blade, covered in these like gray burn scars with like enhanced tech all over her body, lands in a perfect 3-point stance on the ground. She actually did not land in a ping of red light. She jumped down and lands in front of you all. And then her energy blade is not lit up, and she looks up and she says, in perfect English, because one of her enhancements is that she now speaks English as well. She looks up at you all and she says, "These are the heroes we were told to be worried about? That's pathetic. All right, kids, let's dance." And then she's going to launch towards everyone. At that moment, Carl, you feel the amulet like ping in your head. The amulet is like very attuned to the world and is like, something is wrong here. This is right. We don't need to be here. We need to be somewhere else. Something is wrong. And the amulet is kind of freaking out. It's almost like the amulet's having a panic attack in your brain. And because the amulet has control, the amulet just pulls you out of the situation and rushes you off. And as you leave, we see the shot of Carl leaving the area as the other 5 heroes stand there looking back in, as the Asteron General and roughly 9 soldiers come crashing in towards the crew.
Moon Harbor Heroes is produced by Anthony Sheets and TP Huth, and edited by Anthony Sheets. Anthony can be found on Twitter at IcyNewYear or at IcyNewYear.com. T is the host of Incubator on Air, a new play podcast available on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Play. They can be found at T Huth Playwright on Twitter or TPHuth94 on Instagram. This issue was GM'd by T Huth. Asimov is played by EXPHP. You probably won't find him at It's EXPHP on Twitter, but it's worth a try. Blue Samurai is played by William Hendry. You can find him on Twitter at RockoutWill321 or on Steam as Cypress_Grunham. Carl is played by Simon Meskins. You can find him on Twitter as @Gilberecki. Machina is played by Elliot Peterson. She can be found at Elliot Yelin on Instagram. Rascal King is played by me, Anthony Sheets. Ryder Typhon is played by Kaido Kane. Kaido is a Twitch personality and loves their 3 mischievous cats. You can find them at The Versian on Twitter and as Kaido Kane on Twitch.tv. The music for this issue is Curse of the Scarab by Kevin MacLeod. The license and a link to his website can be found in the show notes. Our logo was designed by Beautiful Beasties. She can be found on Instagram at beastly.doodles or on Patreon at patreon.com/beautifulbeasties. If you want to get a hold of us, email us at moonharborheroes@gmail.com or on Twitter at moonharborcast. If you enjoyed this issue, please consider leaving us a review on iTunes and recommending it to friends. Word of mouth is really the best way for us to bring these stories to more people. And thanks for helping us save the world. We'll see you next issue.